The necklace. Part 1. Mathilde was a pretty, charming girl, born as if by an error of fate into a family of clerks. She had no means of becoming known, understood, loved, or be wedded to an aristocrat, and so she let herself be married to a minor official at the Ministry of Education. She dressed plainly because she had never been able to afford anything better. She suffered endlessly, feeling she was entitled to all the luxuries of life. She suffered because of her shabby, poorly furnished house. All these things that another woman of her class would not even have noticed tormented her and made her resentful. She dreamed of a grand palatial mansion with vast rooms and inviting smaller rooms, perfumed for afternoon chats with close friends. Yet she had no rich dresses, no jewels, nothing, and these were the only things she loved. She wanted so much to charm, to be envied, to be sought after. She had a rich friend, a former schoolmate at convent, whom she avoided visiting because afterwards she would weep with regret, despair, and misery. One evening, her husband came home with an air of triumph, holding a large envelope in his hand. "Look," he said, "here's something for you." She tore open the paper and drew out a card on which was printed the words, "The Minister of Education and Ma'am Georges Rampano request the pleasure of Mr. and Ma'am Loisel's company at the Ministry on the evening of Monday, January 18th. Instead of being delighted as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation on the table resentfully and muttered, "What do you want me to do with that? And what do you expect me to wear if I go?" He hadn't thought of that. He stammered, "Why, the dress you go to the theatre in, it seems very nice to me." He stopped, stunned, distressed to see his wife crying. He stuttered, "What's the matter? Let's see, Mathilde. How much would a suitable dress cost?" She thought for a moment, computing the cost, and also wondering what amount she could ask for without an immediate refusal. At last she answered hesitantly, "I don't know exactly, but I think I could do it with 400 francs. He turned a little pale because he had been saving that exact amount to buy a gun for a hunting summer in the country near Nanterre with a few friends. However, he said, "Very well, I can give you 400 francs, but try and get a really beautiful dress." The day of the party drew near, and Ma'am Loisel seemed sad, restless, anxious, though her dress was ready. One evening, her husband said to her, "What's the matter? You have been acting strange these last 3 days." She replied, "I am upset that I have no jewels, not a single stone to wear. I would rather not go to the party." "You could wear flowers," he said. "They are very fashionable at this time of year." She was not convinced. The next day, she went to her friend's house and told her of her distress. Ma'am Forestier went to her mirrored wardrobe, took out a large box, brought it back, opened it, and said to Ma'am Loisel, "Choose, my dear." First, Mathilde saw some bracelets, then a pearl necklace. She tried on the jewelry in the mirror. She kept asking, "You have nothing else?" "Why, yes, but I don't know what you like." Suddenly, she discovered in a black satin box a superb diamond necklace, and her heart began to beat with uncontrolled desire. Her hands trembled as she took it. She fastened it around her neck and stood lost in ecstasy as she looked at herself. Then she asked anxiously, hesitating, "Would you lend me this? Just this?" "Why, yes, of course." She threw her arms around her friend's neck rapturously, then fled with her treasure. The day of the party arrived. Ma'am Loisel was a success. She was prettier than all other women, elegant, gracious, smiling, and full of joy. She danced wildly with passion, forgetting everything in the triumph of her beauty and success, floating in a cloud of happiness. Mathilde and her husband left at about 4 o'clock in the morning. When they were finally in the street, they could not find a cab. They walked down toward the scene till they found one. They were dropped off at their door in the Rue des Martyrs, and sadly, it was all over for her. In front of the mirror, she took a final look at herself in all her glory, but suddenly she uttered a cry. She no longer had the necklace round her neck. "What is the matter?" asked her husband. She turned towards him, panic stricken. I have no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace." He stood up distraught. "What? How? That's impossible."